The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, good morning. And happy Thursday to you. Am I coming through okay? Is the sound clear? Good morning, Steve-O. Excellent. All right, let's orient ourselves this morning. I want to talk through, so mostly good data came in 49 minutes ago. This is the reaction. So it's the game playing itself out. And if you orient yourself to T1, T2, and then right when the data is released, a T3, and the T1 back through it, right? So push one, push two. So at the release of the data, it can define for sure surrounding this data reaction to the reaction, can define trade setups to take advantage of it, right? T2. So what's my evaluation right this very second, even in this now pause leading up to market open? Yes, it's pulled back to Prima in T2, but my stats tell me that one more attempt, my general observation is that that consistently over many market days, I expect the market to move in waves or pushes of 3. I can count it over and over and over and over again. So right in this moment, at this very tick in time, what is the edge? And an edge is a defined set of criteria that can show an advantage over time. That's all it is. It doesn't mean that it has to show it right now, but price at our floor on a T2 market has set price, and I have an edge understanding that coming back down to this price is probable. Okay. So what is that price? 58.1475, right? So 8 points. As it gets there, it's low enough on a T3. So profit taking is going to be anywhere below it. The contracts that are below it could push the market, is what would push the market to sell side target. So let's get our numbers in. Bounce lines at 29.25. 582925. Sell side target is at 0325. 5803.25. And buy side target's up here at 5525. So T7's in between, floor, what is the risk? So again, with a very clear understanding, markets manipulated on both sides. Aggressive is right now at the Prima to sell the T3. If this buys, yes, I'll be counting a T3 in this pullback, still with a bias and an edge on selling through 14.75. Are we clear? So is the good data just going to cause at market open green and buying? It for sure could, but it's the setup. So it brings the market to bounce line, and maybe it even probes through impact line. But market selling to in a third push is the edge. So as market opens, maybe even in open market candle, if it can push it to some value areas, if it can buy up 6 or 7 points, I feel great about a sell to this area. Now I can already play this out in my mind. If this buys in a wave within wave scenario, if this buys in a T3 and turns as I expect it to do in a T1 short through 26, I do expect the T1 to be maybe it as market sells below 14.75. I can anticipate some range to stay. So I'm looking at this as just what's been observable in the past and how the market moves, wanting to come down and get the contracts below 14.75. It's either going to do it in a T3, or if this does buy up, I'm going to reset the count, but I'm still not going to expect much lower on a sell-off below 14.75. Like, not going to expect market to just tank. So if this just simply goes red at open, we're in the T3, which opens up buying back up through 14.75. Is everybody with me? Bias is to sell side target. If in the next 3 minutes and 22 seconds we open below 29.25, right, this is the move. Now, market may indicate something completely different, right? It doesn't have to do what I observe it generally does. So it may even make this move before open. So watching, and I'll let you know when and if I execute. And those of you that are observing this madness, welcome. I would anticipate you don't maybe understand when I say what a T1 or T2 or T3, T4, T8, T7 are. Those are labels to describe price action market movement that you could probably figure out with a few days observing. But what will be very clear is if I execute a trade, I'll let you know. And how I manage it, if I stay in or out, if it hits a stop loss, if it goes to profit target, I'll let you know that. So I feel pretty comfortable if this buys in this pullback in this T3, T3 of pullback, this consolidation. I'm pretty okay with drawing some battle lines from up through maybe a probe through bounce. I understand the risk and the potential of having to manage it from 34 to probably 44 is the potential. I can already see it, what that would maybe look like. So I was talking about this last night in class and over the last few days. A market move, the edge is a move to the contracts below 14.75. Now, in the meantime, where are the value price points for me to trade the way I trade in a zone of being comfortable with an attitude of abundance, willing to accept a reasonable loss, right? Selling right now is not it. Even if it goes, even if it goes, right now it's not it. Yeah, it's a probe of I can hop on the field and look to play the game on a probe through bounce line and impact line. Then with comfort, I can at least play the attempt, right? And be okay managing it if it buys up some more, right? And I can accept being wrong with a hard line in the sand up around the T7 and our ceiling. But if I was just in open market candle at 21 making that trade, it's already outside potentially comfort zone area moving against that price. So that's a decision I want to try to make every time, is even if it just goes where I expect it to go and I miss it, it never got to a price point that would let me trade the way I trade. right? So that's the patience, and that's sometimes a fine line. The difference of a couple of points can be the difference between managing a very profitable trade and getting stopped out. Oh, don't be stuck in a trade, Steve-O, if your computer dies. I've been there before. I've been there before. Side note to everyone, please have the broker's number programmed into your phone. It doesn't necessarily need to be on speed dial, but we're dealing with zeros and ones and computers and communication, and like domes freeze up. The communication lines between our computers, the servers, the CME, and brokers, like they can lose connection. So if you find yourself in a trade and that happens, call the broker, call the trade desk. Usually what I do is just say, get me out. Get me out of this trade. So now maybe what needs to play itself out is a T4 if this stays in this 2 or 3 point range for this candle. It may just go here. And again, I'm totally okay watching it. Even a probe, a quick buy side probe through Highline is moderate. Just understand what you're up against. If you are willing to be aggressive with execution points, just understand your risk. Now, again, if this goes here quickly to the contracts below 14.75, my take is that it's low enough. that it is a it's the test in the chase that I expect, that I can observe over time, that this is the move that happens, and then it turns and buys. So maybe the load does take us all the way to target. But now that's the game I'm evaluating. Can I where can I buy below 14.75 to trade the way I'm comfortable trading? What? And again, all of this is on good data. Yeah. The good data came out hour and 11 minutes ago. So generally, the response to that will be market closes higher. So far, it's not that. The trade is to 14.75. That's the edge. And then anything below 14.75 is bonus. Like I expect market to start buying after that probe, maybe quickly. Right now, any pause, any pullback, yeah, it's a setup. And I understand, and I want you to understand, the manipulation is on both sides of the market, which is why I need to wait for some value in price, because this can jump very quickly and load through bounce line, impact line that sets up the value. So can you handle that, manage that? Does your trading plan say I can be aggressive potentially with an execution point and with a tight risk? I can accept the loss. I can let that tight risk not skew I can be willing to get back in the right direction, even if I get stopped out with a tight risk. So in a 5 or 6 point range bound, market's going to test both directions. And so I want to wait for one of them, the test to happen. I want to try to avoid being tested at a price right here, right? So if I'm making a decision right here, I'm going to be right in the middle of the test in either direction. So I want to wait. I want to wait to see if this does go into a buy side T4. I can start to make some decisions on selling. I expect it to sell. The edge is the short side test. It just hasn't gotten high enough for me to execute. And again, I'm totally okay with watching it just go down through 14.75. On that test and load, if it can get to, maybe it rolls pretty quick to around target area, value for me to buy. A probe of target is a probe of the psychological barrier of 5,800, right? Watching the game play itself out down there. I expect whatever probe we get below 14.75, I expect this area to hold. Now, why am I confident in that? Well, it's observable over and over and over again that this test right here, this 1.5 points, can be and often is low enough. So I'm going to buy. I'm in at 13.75 to the buy side, and I know exactly what I'm up against. Exactly what I'm up against. And if this goes to sell side target, I'll probably manage this. And then I'm on the wrong side of it. If I can get buying back to the Prima is where I'll take it. It's 20.25 is where I have my profit target. Now, some lessons learned. My daily cash flow objective is met right now. Is it enough for you? So I'm going to exit here with 5 points. I'm out. So there's been a couple of journal entries for me over the last week or so on this very thing. I'm hoping, and I gave an assignment in class last night to for you to submit your trading plan. And I want to connect, Paul. I want to connect with you over the next day or 2 or 3. If that's okay. If you can make a comment in the question section, maybe let me know what your week into your weekend looks like. That's okay. So in class last night, your trading plan needs to filter down from the top of the pyramid is your daily cash flow objective. Your daily cash flow objective. And everything else filters down from that. Risk tolerance, trade setups you see, what you're comfortable with, where you're comfortable executing. And the accountability side of that is, and what I quite frankly even veered from a couple of times over the last few weeks, is when an execution point has met my daily cash flow objective, I need to take it every time. Every time. And that's right at about 5 points on a couple of contracts, right? So, sorry, let me go back. I asked for and gave an assignment for you guys to send me your trading plan, and I'm going to help you work through it. So what you send to me, I anticipate will be a draft and doing the best job that you can to say, here are my goals with this. Here is why these goals are important to me and accomplishing them will do. And maybe you start with a good place to start is a monthly objective. I want to make 15 grand a month doing this. You can do that trading 2 or 3 contracts for sure. Break that down to a daily cash flow objective. And then from that, it's going to be, here are the trades I see from the methodology. Here are the trades I see and am comfortable with. Here's how many contracts I know I am comfortable in trading. Here is my max daily loss I'm willing to take, right? So I want you to send that to me if you can. Get it to me by Monday. And next week, I'll connect with each of you and we'll evaluate it. I'll give you my suggestions and take, maybe on some changes or fine tuning or stamp of approval on what you've done. Okay. Um, very good. Yeah, Paul, I'll text you. Let's do tomorrow. I got some golf in my plans today. If that's okay, let's do tomorrow. If you could do maybe around 2 or 3 Mountain Time, if that could work for you. Yeah, work. If you missed class last night, I don't think I made it live, but I can real quick. Let's do that. Just at the end, in the summary of this section of modules, um, the assignment is create a trading plan and email it to me. Oh, why am I not trading bounce short? Okay, I'm already out and done. Met my cash flow objective today. I'm going to take it. 2, we're in T1 long. So why will bounce? Can I expect market to do some selling here? Yes. Will it sell and test on what I would count as a T4? Again, this consolidation, this waves within waves. The market never has to do anything that I want it to do or expect it to do. I have a healthy respect for the market. If selling's going to happen, right here would be a place that institutional traders over the top from this buying will sell. Like if it's liquidation day and the market's going to tank, it can and does do that. This is for an area that it's going to happen. My observation is, though, that before it does that, it's going to stall in between prima and bounce. It's probably going to have at least a T2, right? I mean, its bounce is good for 5 points as as I talk through this. But what's the game? What's the game? Probably a little more green, probably a little red in this range. Market almost never moves in T1. Almost never. And this is a T1. I mean, bounce was good. It was a good trade. Is market going to tank? Probably not. And what we're the edge is to understand the pusher wave that we're in and trade with it. What's the psychology at bounce? So why is bounce even important? Well, because of this movement. So it's there to take advantage of it. The question is always, if you take bounce, are you okay with taking it for 2 or 3 or 4 points? Are you okay with staying focused on what you're carving out a small segment of time? And that's how fast it happens, right? In minutes. Market can and does often give us the movement to help us uh, meet our daily cash flow objectives. But if you were in bounce as this is buying back up and you didn't take what the market was willing to give up against what you're trying to understand, which is the mark that you agree you can start to see the market is going to move in generally in waves or pushes of 3. Internalize that. And it's going to help me make good decisions, which would have been either to sell this on this push or be willing to hop on the field when it happens. Now at bounce, if you weren't willing to take your profit, as this buys back up, that can everybody hear me? Sorry. Okay. My phone connected to my headset as well. Let me fix that. All right. So put yourself on the mental side of as this buys back up into the T2. Or can you so what I'm hoping is that if you took bounce short and didn't take it, that what you can show is not out of fear, but okay, I know we're in a T1 long. I gave bounce a shot, and so you still should be profitable right now, but be willing, open, and able to say, I need to get out of this trade because it's observable that we're in T1 long. And the edge is to trade long until we are in T3. Then when we're in T3, can we anticipate a T4, maybe even trade it? Can we be comfortable in execution after a T3 up against the potential of a T4 and chase, right? Those are that's the methodology defined in execution points. The human side of it is, can bounce hold here and can this go to sell side target? Sure. Statistically, bounce is good for 3 to 5 points. You're exactly right, Dave. It gave 6. With fill price execution, you probably could have taken 5 points on bounce. The human side of it is you can see it play itself out as it comes back now to probably right where that fill price or execution point would be. Can you accept it in no, we're just in T2 long. Just in T2 long. I like that. Yep. Instead of the market testing you, you're testing the market, and the market's always going to win in that fight. Yep. Yep. Exactly. Everybody else take that. How's everybody doing? Opportunities on both sides. Short 14.75, the buy from there. Good. As you look inward and really evaluate the opportunity in front of you, can you be okay with carving out a small segment of time, taking your profit and going about your day? Right? My intention with our intention with Trade to Target is not to sit here and call out trades all day long. I could do that. The the real upside to doing this on a daily basis is how it can free up your life to go do what you want to do. Now, there are some people that want to sit and trade all day long. They're consumed by it. I get that. I've lived through that. Um, what our community is going to be is what this is focusing on, what doing this successfully in a small segment of time, day to day, can do for us in our lives. That's what our community is going to be. Um, there will be a next step. I will be doing an afternoon session a few days a week. And for our from a company standpoint, the reason for that is to broaden our net. There are people who just can't trade in the morning. So what I'm hoping is the afternoon sessions is sticking with that objective of not being consumed, right? But taking an hour section in the afternoon, doing the exact same thing as we lead up to close to define a small segment of time, right? Now, there are some of you where I know you will be able to keep the perspective of what this is and come to the morning and afternoon sessions, carve out those small segments of time, go about the rest of your day. That's what I'm really hoping, really hoping for. Um, but good. I mean, everybody's green, unless you haven't told me you're you're red. So T2 long, where's it going? So the game, my observation of the game around bounce line is I don't expect I don't expect just a big green candle to target. This is the area. This is going to be a pivot point for till the afternoon. I don't think market's going to get to our rooftop or our ceiling or target. I think it's going to hold here, right? Sell back down to bounce area, test to the sell side around Prima or High Line. Right? This market is defining its range right now. How I define how market illustrates my definition of range bound is it moves in T2. Push one, push two. So what sets up right this very second potentially is an aggressive anticipation of T1 short through T2. Now, if you are conservative, then anticipation trades become difficult. You need confirmation trades. And what that would look like is you wait for a candle that doesn't show an equal or higher high in T2. That would signal T2 is done. And now you can define some risk and say, if I'm going to bet against the T3, I can sell market and put my risk, 3 ticks above the high of T2. Right? That's a conservative process. Now, in any given session, most trade setups are based on anticipation and price action and not confirmation. That's what you're up against. Does that make sense? Like we're watching it play itself out potentially right this very second. The T2 test, the movement above T1 is, if it's going to go short, you're not going to get confirmation that T2 is done until maybe market's already sold to 08. That's the battle. That's what you got to understand. So when I say I know what I'm up against. That's what I'm talking about is, okay, I'm comfortable anticipating the buy after the T3 here. I know what I'm up against. It's the same deal in this type of movement. You know what you're up against to be confident in taking the T1, right? So why am I even talking through a T1 when we're only in T2? This right here. So that market is creating signals to buy in all of this green. Retail trader signals to buy. It may very well signal institutional buying. but usually not until the retail trader signals are chased out of the market, which means pretty good red candle. And maybe it doesn't go all the way. If it does go all the way below now 14.75, we're up against a breakout short, right? So I'm way more apt to sell up here in a T2 than I am to buy down here. This is the because if this test comes, which it does, right, buy it right now, right this very second, market's building in the buyers from all of this green. It's going to go test it, and if it tests below the low of T3 here, if it tests below this low, then maybe look out below. I wouldn't expect target to hold at that point, actually. So I'm comfortable like dissecting this part of the game, even in a T2. And again, talked about it a little bit last night in class. This very thing, if I can try to put myself on the side of the retail trader mindset, if I can look at potential signals, there's lots of retail confirmation to buy. The MACD, convergence, fresh cross on the MACD, the Freeman, the high line crossing. And over and over and over again on these signals, institutional and professional side, go take that money. And so that looks like pretty good test, even if the intention is institutionally and professionally that they need to position to the buy side. They're making decisions I'm not making, which is months down the road. And that's not, I'm not managing hundreds of millions of dollars. In the meantime, 100 or 200 or 300 contracts to go take up the retail buy side contracts that are coming in right now, signal and long, and go make that money in the short term on selling this and go hitting all the stop losses that the signal services are telling them to make right now on a buy. And then it can instantly turn and can and does. Because now they're now institutionally prices at a value area for positioning beyond today. Right. So if you're short, and this is potentially adding to already having met your daily cash flow objective, Where's profit? Well, conservatively, it's a probe through the high line. Back to where I had buy side profit in 2021. As this sells and tests, so right around probe of highline, is that casing and testing the contracts that are stop losses for anybody that was buying at 28, for sure. And very well could be low enough. So the balance is always greed and fear, greed and fear. Calculated decisions based on a pyramid that at the very top and what works its way down is what your daily cash flow objectives are. Anything beyond 21 to the sell side starts to sniff of greed. So you can see it, embrace it, understand the psychology of it, take the movement that can help you meet your daily cash flow objective, and then do your best to not worry or care what the market does from there. Because tomorrow we're going to reset and attempt to do the exact same thing. Tomorrow will be its own unique scenario. Welcome, dude. We'll see you tomorrow morning. All right, class from last night is live. So if you missed it, do your best to watch it. And I'm going to call it a morning, guys. Let's go make our days great, be a positive influence to others around us. If you're selling this, sell it to 21. If 2150-ish, the test and probe of the high line probably is low enough. And I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Paul, I'll reach out to you. We'll firm up a time for tomorrow. And Anita, you as well. I'll reach out to you today as well. We'll firm up a time. You bet. See you tomorrow.